Do you want to introduce yourself? Who are you? What is your degree and where are you from?
Hi, I'm CB. I'm from West Palm Beach, Florida. Moved out to Portland about 10 years ago to get my education and explore the beautiful Pacific Northwest. In that time, I found Portland State University and have really, found a home in the community and decided to pursue my higher education here. I'm getting my master's in science of anthropology and intend to graduate this spring. My company is Dicot, and Dicot is a hemp sciences company that is really at home in the Northwest and in the Center for Entrepreneurship.
Awesome. What inspired you to be part of Cleantech?
I think a lot of the programming I've done before, including the Cube incubator, pointed me towards competitions in general as a way of not only networking and getting to see what other businesses are doing, working within timelines and under constraints that aren't self-imposed to continue growing my business. What stood out for the Clean Tech Challenge to me was hemp is often considered a really good crop for the environment, but our approach is always, I think, nuanced in that we're looking for hemp food markets and trying to think beyond the current extraction oriented towards the cannabis plant. Germinating change is a big part of our philosophy, and clean tech really resonates with that. The idea of creating technologies and solutions to long-term problems. At Dicot, we believe that we can really help solve not just hunger issues, but also just the ecological and environmental impact of contemporary agricultural practices by introducing hemp as a grain and all of the other goods that come from that.
That's really great. I know you touched a little bit on it, but what is the inspiration for your project?
Definitely. I think it's worth going a little bit further into my background. And there's always the line of where does passion really kick off? I think a lot of people, my mom especially, who I work with in this project, would say being a pot smoking teenage kid who was sent away for smoking pot would definitely be a fun founding story. For me, when I moved out to the Pacific Northwest, I was one of the first 100 licensees to operate in the recreational cannabis market, turning that high school experience into a positive, but ultimately learning experience because we weren't successful in surviving the market. Being 21 and in college, it was a totally new experience for me. My passion for being involved in this emerging market for cannabis and healthcare led me to support my mom becoming a private physician in Florida's medical marijuana system and has kept me peripherally interested. And I'd say at the end of the day, food is probably the next most passionate interest of mine. So it was only a matter of time until I would find a product and an opportunity and a way of expressing those life experiences and these passions in the work I do. And Dicot, I think, is the result of that.
Thank you for sharing. Can you explain a little bit more about what problem your project addresses and why is it important?
Dicot is globally interested in changing the way we eat basic foods. Most significantly, wheat, the basic cereal grain that we use in society, has a lot of sociocultural as well as environmental impacts that I think are pretty recognizable. We think obviously this is a global change and a wide reaching vision to move outside of this framework and to start small. Products like hemp microgreens, which we call milligreens, are ways of reintroducing the cannabis plant, changing the ways that people think about stigmatized plants, approach food cultivation, and become more conscious about the nutrients they put in their body. The trickle down benefits are a social good as well as the environmental impact of being able to better integrate hemp into our food systems and agricultural systems. The impact being reduction in CO2 because of carbon sequestration, as well as soil remediation and the ability to potentially roll back some of the harms of our current practices.
Excellent. What are some of the biggest challenges or obstacles you oversee?
Having a global vision is obviously going to force you to split your attention between the here and now and the world you want to create. But being change makers and utopians is what the Dicot team is all about. The challenges that come with that is trying to identify the current market openings as well as the pathway to change that we can navigate with the resources we have and can create. Practically speaking, this is figuring out where to source hemp seeds, figuring out who to work with to create these genetics that are going to provide better nutrients and better ratios of starches and proteins that we need in order to generate hemp greens and grains. This is a multi-year process. So building these relationships as well as surviving the ups and downs of an emerging market has proved difficult, but our philosophy of taking things slow and steady and working towards incremental progress, specifically through finding intellectual property that we can make ours, has proved to be pretty successful. And beyond that, the partnerships that we've been able to cultivate through PSU and the Center for Entrepreneurship has set us up to put some of these ideas into reality.
Amazing. So, about that partnership, can you elaborate more about what you are doing to move that forward?
A big part of the Center for Entrepreneurship is cultivating peer mentorship. And this is multifaceted for Dicot and me as a student who has been working with a business for a couple of years, has some entrepreneurial experience. I'm able to engage with my cohort in the incubator and pass on that experience. At the same time, I can find folks who have been through these programs, approach them to be mentors. I think the most important for us has been the company Next Garden, who was involved in the Cleantech competition last year and has gone on to become a pretty successful microgreen farmer. Our patented process for growing hemp microgreens and our trademark term for them, milligreens, has basically been a perfect match for their capacities and where they're at. Working together has taught us a lot about structuring business agreements and partnerships, as well as given me access to mentorship I don't think I would have been able to find anywhere else.
Speaking of partnership and collaboration, do you have a team or do you have a support system you are working with to build this project?
I mentioned working with my mom, and she's
Okay.
our chief medical officer. Her role as a cannabis physician and doctor is in this idea of healthier lives and improving people when we make things. She is also invaluable for me as someone who values working with family, community, and getting to work with people who know me and are willing to celebrate my unique story and life experiences and what that brings to the table. As like a non-binary entrepreneur, there are a lot of unique experiences that I'm very fortunate to have supporting parents, specifically a supporting business partner and my mom, to navigate around. The other side of our partnerships is some of the professional organizations we work with. And I think the one that stands out the most is Potency Branding. We first worked with them when we were launching our food edible business in the cannabis market. But since that time, the founder, Maria Betts, has become a friend, colleague in Dicot and has been really instrumental to helping me take an idea for a product and shaping it into a brand, and most importantly, something that really can be produced, can be shared and consumed. And on both ends of the spectrum, with Maria and my mom, my team helps to keep me grounded, but also focused on a lot of our bigger vision. And I'm very grateful for that.
I love that. What do you hope to leave with after your experience at Cleantech?
I'm really excited about the opportunity to be a mentor in the future to students in the student entrepreneurship program, especially other queer youth, because there's not many of us who are able to, I think, share experiences and can feel comfortable navigating the world we live in, especially in this day and age. And being able to help those folks is particularly important to me. For Dicot, I'm hoping that whether we're successful or not in the finals, that we can take the prototype we've been working on and use that as a basis for increasing our opportunities for generating revenue when we do go to market. We've been really excited to look at the clean tech opportunity as a way to further decentralize and further streamline some of the environmental impacts of agriculture. That is why we decided to make a sprouting kit and a microgreen system for consumers, so we can even control some of the costs associated with transporting goods and getting them to consumers. The Clean Tech Challenge was really inspiring for us, and looking for other opportunities to bring this product to consumers in mindful ways.
What is the most important thing you want the judges to understand about your innovation? Or, in other words, what do you think sets you apart from other competition?
product-based solutions are important, but as an anthropologist, we tend to see the world as a complex, interrelated network of both people and objects, problems and opportunities. And having a global vision for change and a pathway to get there through products, which is Dicot's strategy for leading change through hemp, I think stands us apart. The firsthand experience that we have working with hemp and just working through the steps of problem solving for social impact, not just financial impact, is something that just will always be true of our company. And whether or not it sets us apart from the competition, I think our ability to do this a queer perspective as well as a perspective that incorporates traditionally marginalized voices is worth noting.
That's amazing. And lastly, what would you like to see from other students, student innovators, in terms of environmental consciousness?
Our first product in the cannabis markets was a cannabis kombucha. Seeing innovative applications for a product I know so well just to me says there's not maybe so much I can provide other than the opportunity to reflect and learn from my competitors. I think the social impacts that are being focused on are super diverse and reflect individual experiences of people who I'm excited to continue getting to know. I'm hopeful that I can continue integrating those experiences, visions, and passions into my own business development.
Thank you. And that is all.